Okay, I call this regular meeting of the Ross County Commission, February the 26th, in order. Ask anybody if they got a ball cap up, please remove it in the courtroom at this time. Thank you, Randy Wilson. If you got a cell phone, please turn it off and mute it for me, please, okay? All right, commissioners, this time we'll do roll call. I got 22 present, 2 absent. I declare we have a quorum. All right, this time I'd like to ask Commissioner White, please come up and do our invocation followed by the pledge to flag. Will everybody please stand?
Right, let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for your goodness, your grace, and your mercy. Thank you for giving us the grace and the opportunity just to live in Robertson County. Thank you for allowing us to live in the 21st century. But most importantly, Lord, we thank you for the blessed Savior, Jesus Christ, who is our propitiation. I pray, God, that you would just help all of us to do everything for your honor and your glory. I pray that you bless this meeting as only you could do. Bless Robertson County, bless the constituents. And Lord, I pray that you give us county commissioners your wisdom and your knowledge to be able to lead and lead properly and do everything for your glory and honor. And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I get one of you gentlemen to get that air conditioned a little bit. Getting hot in here.
It's going.
Okay, Commissioner, in your package is the minutes from the previous meeting. I'll take a motion to approve. Got a motion by Roberts. Second by Commissioner Rummel. If there's any questions? Not for the minutes being filed, vote aye. If you're against it, vote no. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, the minutes are filed. In my communications, I'm gonna start with Miss Laura Patterson from UT Extension Office. If she would come up, please. I think she left something at your station. I'll let Chad Gregory come up too later, but beautiful age. Patterson.
Thank you, Mayor Vogel and Commissioners, for welcoming me in tonight. So March is UT Extension Month. That's why I'm here. I wanted to share that with you all. If I were to ask each person in this room, what is UT Extension? Everyone would probably have a different answer. A few of you may even say, I don't know what that is. So we are the outreach branch of the University of Tennessee. We are a cooperative extension, so we're jointly funded between the University of Tennessee and Robertson County. What's great about that is we have the backing of an educational institution. We have the evidence-based information, the evidence-based programming, but we get to deliver our services and programs right here in Robertson County to the citizens of Robertson County. So you have 2 handouts in front of you. One of them is kind of a meet the staff handout. We've had a lot of changes in our office the past few years, primarily due to retirements. So there's a lot of new faces. If you come by, that way you kind of know, who is there. There's also a brief description of what program area they're responsible for and their contact information. The second one is a handout that we typically give to our Ag Committee members. And I want to say thank you to our Ag Committee members, especially Gina, Jeff, and Randy, for their continued support of our programming. But we meet each quarter and we usually give a programs update of, what's going on in each program area. So that's the second handout that you have there. When we think about programs, most people are most familiar with our 4-H Youth Development Program. Robertson County has had one of the best 4-H programs in the state for quite a while, and I think we still do. So you're going to see some updates from 4-H. You're also going to see some updates from our agriculture programs. I know some of you have attended some of our programs in the past, like our Tennessee Kentucky Tobacco Expo, our Master Farm Manager program. So we deliver a lot of educational programs for farmers as well. The third program is the one that's my favorite because it's the area I work in, is Family Consumer Sciences. So that's also adult education, primarily related to nutrition, health, other areas as well, consumer economics, human development, and those things. So I just wanted to share with you all that March is UT Extension Month. We don't have any big events that we're doing this year, but I would encourage you to come by, stop by, visit with us. We have a lot of great information to share with the community. If you ever have any questions or anything, please feel free to contact me or any of our staff members. We'd be happy to help. Thank you again for letting me.
Anybody got any questions, Ms. Patterson?
Got one. Man, get active.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Anybody else?
Anyone else?
Ms. Patterson, are you happy with your committee?
Yes, they're fantastic.
Okay, thank you.
Woohoo.
Not because you feed them, is it? Hey, Chad, you here? You want Chad Grigg? I've had several people question about where we're at with our 911 radio system. Something that's been badly needed in this county for about 15 years. You know, our towers have been cleaned out and we've got some dead spots. We've invested over $7 million. Cities and counties to improve the system. Go ahead, Chad.
So our current status, we did not get to have our bi-weekly update call this past Monday due to the holiday. So we're running a little behind. I have talked to the engineers today. The microwave equipment that was putting us behind that we talked about before is here locally, not necessarily here. They are supposed to start working at the state-owned site to add the microwave dishes there in Adams at the Port Royal site tomorrow. Another team is actually going to start working at the Hillcrest site here of our High Tower site tomorrow as well. Got to let them in the morning. As well as MCA, the local Motorola folks are going to start doing some cable management and cable routing in the tower sites as well. So while the microwave, some people are working in one site, they're going to be working in the other site doing some installation of what they call the ESS rack, which is actually the rack with actually the radio equipment in it. And there's another rack, 7-foot tall rack that goes in that is actually all the microwave equipment that allows each tower to talk to each other and then access back into the TACAN network throughout the state. So we are moving forward. We're looking at hopefully having Adams and the site at Dispatch being done this week, and then moving to Hillcrest and the East Robertson site next week, possibly having a second team come in to actually work on those at the same time. So we may get that done a little quicker. Then they still got to do a site in White House that is state-owned as well there to get that up. And then so by the third week of March, we're looking at doing what they call the site optimization. Once everything is up and pointing at each other, we have to let it run for a period of time to test to make sure that the dishes are properly aligned and there's not any obstructions and everything to get that up and going. So that at that point, the system can go live as far as the towers. We're still working on what they call the code plug, which is the programming for the radios and getting that out. One of the technicians has had a death in the family, has been out for a couple of days. So we're running a couple of days behind on that. So we're still researching some paging frequencies and paging tones from other agencies to make sure we get that right. We're trying to make sure we get it right the first time, but we're programming a few radios and getting those out to test once the system is capable of supporting some radios to make sure that those talk groups are correct, the conventional channels are correct. And because it's a lot easier to fix 2 or 3 radios for an agency than it is to go back and reprogram 900. So we're moving right along. I know it's not something that you necessarily can see, but things are working. We've had electricians in both the East Robertson site and the Hillcrest site have basically completely redone the electrical. They've installed new battery backups to keep the system up and going until the generator can start, so that we are complete with an uninterruptible power supply. They've done grounding around the fences and connected all of that through at the Cross Plains site, isolation transformers and all kinds of stuff. So things have been moving. It's just not something that's out here putting radios in people's hands yet, but that's coming.
Would you predict that this might be finished up?
Finished, they were still hoping to have a go live at the end of March. I'm not foreseeing that. I have not been told by Motorola that they're predicting to miss that date. But if we don't have site optimization until the third week of March, there's no way we can be have radio, even if we were all portables, we can't be distributed in that length of time. So hopefully we will be doing installs in units in April. And we will complete the system. We will not sign off on the system being complete and the project being done until we have full foliage on all the trees. So we will probably go live sometime in the April, May timeframe, but it may be June-ish before we actually sign off that the project is complete, to make sure that we are testing with all the leaves on the trees and making sure that we're not shooting through bare branches, and then when we get leaves on the trees, it don't work.
Okay, anybody got any questions for Chad? Mr. Stubblefield?
Are we on a month-to-month basis now at Greer?
We will be at the end of March. Motorola has asked, we are find what the cost is for Motorola if we have to pay for additional airtime with the current Greer system, as to what that lump sum payment is. Trying to contact each agency and find out what they pay their annual cost is and break that down. We're just gonna call Greer and go, what would it cost?
So Greer will Motorola pay for that?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we'll no longer have an expense on Greer
Correct.
after the end of March.
Correct. Our contract, I believe the actual contract was through June 30th, but they only billed everybody through the end of March. And that was giving us at that time, we were predicting a January go live. And that was giving us a little window, but some shipping things and a couple of little purchasing snafus internal to Motorola is put us a little behind.
Anyone else?
Where's the cross claim?
It is at East Robertson High School. Back.
Yeah, I know what it is.
There's been a lot of collaboration going on, like the Adams Tower. That tower belongs to Homeland Security. Motorola worked with them to can use that tower too. And it's located where the old
fire tower.
The old fire tower.
At
Second highest,
Royal in 76.
second highest spot in the county.
So, actually, the Joe Burns, we currently have a tower at Joe Burns High School. But it was better off to add capacity to the state's tower than to bring our tower on board, because it's a much taller tower on a much higher elevation. We could just add capacity there without having to do a whole tower climb and all this stuff. So we'll have a site there for extra.
Anybody else? Hey, I want to thank Chad for taking this on, because he's talking about microwaves and stuff, and regular people don't know what that is. But he does, and I appreciate what he's done.
It has been a little bit of a learning curve, because there's a few things that have been above my head, but I'm learning.
But I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate what you do for us.
Appreciate it, Chance. Good job.
The only thing I got left is early voting ends tomorrow. Is that right? I want to commend all department heads for telling employees to maybe park a little further away where our people that's voting can come in. Seems like everybody's done a great job, because I've come by and there's room for people to park and vote. I know some people had to walk a little bit, but there's people standing in line in a lot of countries for a mile just to get the vote. So it's not a big sacrifice, is it?
Our new parking lot open.
Yeah, the new parking lot across the road's open. Yeah, it's gonna be about 105 cars, I understand. Yeah, that's gonna help a lot too. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, at this time, I'll ask for public comments for anything on the agenda. If you'll notice, I've seen the list here. I think it's all got to do with zoning. It has nothing to do with our resolutions. So I'm gonna let you speak at the time we do zoning. I'll come back to the public. All right, we'll move on to reports. All right, the highway report. Any questions or comments? Trustees report. Any questions or comments? Veteran Service Office. Any questions or comments? Animal control. Any questions or comments? Just like the public to know, if you want to adopt a dog or a cat, there's some good ones out there. Anybody would like to volunteer? I don't think you'll be turned down. We got a nice facility out there now. Planning, any questions or comments? Solid waste, any questions or comments? EMA, any questions or comments? Any questions, comments? EMS, any questions or comments? And finance, any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve the reports.
I move the reports be accepted and ordered file.
Motion by Haley, and got a second by Commissioner Morgan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Reports are filed. Thank you, gang. Okay, at this time, we will move to our public hearing for zoning. I'll ask for Ms. Groves and Hunter, who all wants to come up. At this time, the public will become part of the meeting, county commission. And she announces the zoning that we're first one. If you got something you want to say, come up, get in line. State your name and address for the record, please. And Madam Clerk has got a timer on. Bless her heart. And a red light will come on somewhere, won't it? Okay, Hunter, go ahead.
First resolution, resolution number 0226240008. Ian and Jared Leftrick request to rezone 2.50 acres from AG2 to R40 located at 5225 Esben Holland Road, tax map 019, parcel 090.00, 8th voting district. The planning commission recommended approval by a vote of 7-0.
Is anyone here to speak on that zoning issue? Seeing none, we'll move to the next one, Hunter.
Resolution number 0226240009, Gina Zylstra, executor, request to rezone 21.70 acres from AG2 to RP80 located on Burgess Gower Road, tax map 099, parcel 094.00, 11th voting district. The planning commission recommended approval by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, is anybody here like to speak for that resolution? Okay, sir, y'all come on up. Yeah, just stop them right. Bring one at a time. There you go. Yeah, state your name and address, sir.
Stephen Head, Burgess Gower Road, Cedar Hill.
Take off, Steve.
All right. So Burgess Gower Road, I mentioned that. My property line is about 200 feet, a little less than 200 feet from the largest lot in question here today. There's two lots really that we're packaging together in this comment. My mom also shares a property line. She owns a family farm. She shares a property line with both lots. It's an active farm being farmed today. She couldn't be here, so I'm kind of also representing her. I spoke at the planning commission meeting, as well as two other people from the community opposed to this. So I'm kind of want to restate some of our concerns that we shared then. I've emailed each of you a long rambling email. Apologize for that. And I've also spoke with a few of you as well. We did create a petition, online petition after the planning commission meeting. And as of yesterday, we had 119 people sign that were opposed to this. And as of the last breakdown that I did, 3 of those were Cedar Hill people, 25 were Springfield, and the rest were scattered throughout the county. And there were a few relatives of people who live outside the county, but a total of 119. And it does not allow duplicates. It verifies your email address. You have to confirm it in a separate email, so you can't sign more than one time. So to recap, the first issue that we mentioned in the planning commission meeting, both of these lots have road frontage on Wheelhead Road. We consider it to be a 1-lane road. You can't pass without somebody getting over. It's a dead end road. There's 7 houses on there today. So we have concerns around more driveways and everything, more Wheelhead Road that's already less than optimal. So that's where our family farm is kind of based. It's on Wheelhead Road. So we're all very familiar with that. My brother lives on Wheelhead Road today. Another issue that we mentioned in the planning commission meeting is increased access to Burgess Gower Road. So from this property I drove it from the courthouse. It's about 18 minutes. So it's not just outside city limits. It's rural. It's a rural county road. So we've got concerns around just increased driveways, increased traffic from a subdivision, not just a couple lots being rezoned. Another one that we mentioned, some water challenges. There are some wet areas within the larger property. In fact, I took a picture of, I guess, earlier this week where there's kind of a pond formed, stays there for a while. We have some concerns.
That's it.
You got 15 seconds.
Okay. And then, of course, we're concerned about the precedent this sets in a rural area. If we start chopping up larger fields like this, what that can mean down the road. And I'll end with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Prompt. Okay, next.
Jennifer Head. I'm at 3124 Wheelhead Road, Cedar Hill. My name is Jennifer Head. I just wanted to speak briefly from a mama's perspective for just a second. We're talking about both pieces together, about 30 acres. Right now it's zoned for 3-acre lots, which means 10 more houses on a 1-lane road that has farm equipment going up and down it on a regular basis. There are 4 tobacco barns on that road that are serviced and used on a regular basis. So there's tractors, scaffold wagons going up and down that road every day. So additional driveways on that road is not optimal. And then on the road frontage side on Burgess Gower, that road frontage is actually on a blind curve. So, and it is a blind curve that people don't regularly keep lane. And when my son was in high school, he was hit in that blind curve because people don't regularly keep lane. And you add additional driveways there, you add additional individuals coming out onto the road, and you put a much higher safety problem on Burgess Gower there, right around right there around that corner. And then to Stephen's point, the part of this property floods anytime it rains. And I understand they would have to build up to be able to put houses there to deal with that. But then my question becomes, where is that water going to go? And the only place there is for it to go is onto the family land, onto my mother-in-law's land, onto my brother-in-law's land, onto the family land. So that is another concern, is with that wet place and then those places. And when that is built up so that you can actually put a house there, then where does the water go? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Brad Walker, live at 3615 Burgess Gower Road. My comments will be short and brief. My biggest concern, I don't get up here and talk lightly about this because I don't really like telling other people what they can do with their land. But in this scenario, you're talking 10 lots versus 16 lots. I don't see the need for us. It's already zoned for 3 acres. I don't know why we'd want to go more than that. I know Coopertown Elementary, just down the road, and Coopertown Middle School, they're already busting at the seams. And also you got traffic down at the end of Coopertown during school hours. It's pretty bad. They have put somebody directing traffic out there. So that's a concern. I just don't see, I prefer it not be rezoned, rather stay where it is, 3 acres.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Dina Baggett Zylstra, 460 Cox Road, Franklin, Tennessee. Thank you, commissioners, for having us hearing and allowing us to speak to you tonight. Again, my name is Gina Baggett Zylstra, and we request approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission's unanimous decision to allow rezoning of this acreage from Ag 3 or Ag 2 to RP 80. And this land is owned by my brother, Jimbo Baggett, my sister, Christy Baggett, and me. And my niece and nephew are adjacent. That is Jake Fan and his wife Morgan. She's a teacher at Joe Burns High School. And they are adjacent to this property. They are contractors and developers and came to us and asked us if they could develop this property. In 2021, my mother passed of COVID, Brenda Haynes. This was her property. And as part of the family's overall plan to handle the estate properties, we requested this zoning change so that the use of the land would set in nicely for our plans for the highest and best use. And we are dividing this into lots. We are not requesting a subdivision, or we have not requested a subdivision, and that wasn't approved by the Planning Commission. There's a little noise in some of the petition and talking that we were not local. And my brother, Jimbo, and Christy and I attended Joe Burns High School. In fact, my grandparents own the land where Joe Burns High School sits. We were born and raised here, and we own a farm down the road where we grow corn, tobacco, wheat, soybeans. And we plan to keep that farm currently in that use. This land is just set off separate from that, and this is our highest and best use for that particular piece of property. Again, I thank you for listening to us, and I request your approval of the lawful and unanimous decision of the Zoning and Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up, sir.
My name is Jacob Fan. My wife and I live currently at Willhead Road, 3211 Willhead Road. We have two small children. She's a school teacher. I'm a local builder. We are going to be building some of the houses that's proposed on the rezoning. I know one of the main concerns has been traffic. The way it's going to ultimately lay out, I think there will be probably 3 additional driveways that end up on Willhead Road. I know it's a small, narrow road, but it's not anything that's not comparable to a lot of the roads in the county width-wise. I know Catholic Church and Lipscomb, to name a few, get pretty narrow. As far as Burgess Road goes, that leaves, however many it lays out, 7, 8, give or take driveways there. It's not going to be, our ultimate, we could get 14 houses with all of it, but it's not going to lay out perfectly all RP80 tracks. Some of them will be bigger. Excuse me. If you count up the driveways on Burgess Gower, I just got on satellite view. There's over 100 current driveways, 49 to the end of Burgess Gower. It's not like this is a massive increase of what's there. I want to just talk a little bit about the RP80 zoning district itself. I'm going to read the definition, if that's all right. RP80 rural preservation. This district is designed to provide suitable open space for agricultural uses, low density residential developments. It shall consist primarily of single-family detached dwellings, agricultural uses, and accessory uses. So I understand nobody wants to lose farmland, but it's everything that we want to do, we feel like matches what's allowed in the RP80 district. And like I say, it's not like it's an all or nothing. The whole 30 acres is going to be cut up into the smaller tracts. It's just we need that zoning so that we can get some smaller ones. The area that floods is going to have to be a bigger tract because it's, you can't build a house in the bottom of the pond. So we feel like we meet this, and that's all I've said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christy Baggett, and my address is 6048 Allensville Road, Allensville, Kentucky. I was born and raised in Cedar Hill. I attended and graduated from Springfield High School. Along with my brother Jim and my sister Gina, we own the property subject to this rezoning request. We inherited this land from our mother, Brenda Haynes, who passed away from COVID in 2021. As we said on my mother's estate, we need to divide this property between my sister, brother, and myself. As you heard from Gina and Jake, we do intend on building some houses on this land. I also wish to own and hold some of this land after it's rezoned and subdivided. I respectfully request that you grant the rezoning application.
Okay, anyone else?
My name's Jimbo Baggett. You'll excuse me, I'm a little nervous. Thank goodness we had 4-H in school with. We're here tonight. I live right down the road on 3345 Burgess Guyer Road. As y'all heard, this is me and my sister's stuff, and we're just trying to settle our estate and sell off some of the property. I don't think it could be that bad a thing to some other people either. I'm personally gonna keep 2 lots because I've got 2 children that's moved away from Robertson County. Therefore, it always gives them an opportunity to move back to Cedar Hill, which I love Cedar Hill. That's where I'm from. I've always been from. So that leaves an option for my kids to come back. It could also give some opportunity to some people that live there local, that want to love one of their grandparents or their children to move back to their community. So, you know, just always keep in mind, there's some good things that come out of this too.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hey, I'd like to thank everybody for being prompt on your time. I appreciate that. Okay, Hunter.
Resolution number 0226240010, Jacob and Morgan Baggett Fan request to rezone 7.64 acres from AG2 to RP 80, located at 3211 Willhead Road, tax map 099, parcel 094.04, 11th voting district. The Planning Commission recommended approval by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, is anyone here to speak on that issue? Go ahead, Mr. Head.
Same comments as before, no need to restate. This was part of the original same track, and this part was cut out, and they live on it currently. They're asking to be rezoned to higher density, where there's 1 house on it today. So again, it shares a property line with my mom's farm, our family farm. So same comments as before. Nothing new.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing of our part of zoning, bring it back to the county commission. Okay, we'll start with resolution 008 from Ag 2 to R40. Mr. Electric in vote District 8. I need a motion. Got a motion from Roberts. Got a second from Mr. Jackson. Mr. Pierce, you would like to speak?
Yes. These were unanimous. I would have voted against these, but I want to explain, I just want to explain my position to this, and I would love some feedback from the commission because I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I develop and build as well. Never in Robertson County. It's always south. When we run highest and best use analysis, the very first thing that we ever look at is legal permissibility. If it doesn't meet the zoning, it's not legally permissible. Understand the citizens, the issues here, because the whole county is zoned AG2. So it doesn't leave a lot of room to do a lot. So when I first got on, Amanda was here and she was giving us some guidance on this and that, and then Amanda left. And so now we've been kind of stuck, you know, not really having any direction. So I went back and just read the code myself. And when I went back and I looked, y'all passed a resolution somewhere around 2015 that I saw that y'all adopted a new Article 1 for planning zoning. And that Article 1 said in there that the purpose of that was to implement the 2040 Robertson County Growth and Economic Development Plan.
right.
which kind of confused me because I thought, because I heard rumblings that either you did or you didn't. There was some confusion when I spoke last time, whether or not you adopted a growth plan or not. So then I went to our Article 1 on our website, on the government website. And it's the exact same language, except that sentence has been removed. Adoption of the 2040 Robertson County Economic Growth and Development Plan. So that's been removed and it says that we're supposed to base everything off the maps in 1989. So then the issue I have is that the General Assembly has passed a law, I believe it's in Title VI, stating that every county is to adopt a growth plan. Not maybe, but it has to, it shall. I think it's 6, chapter 58. And that also has to be revisited every 3 years. So when I'm looking at this, I don't know if we adopted the growth plan or if we didn't adopt the growth plan. But I never in my life have just seen all this zoning. And my concern is that now we've gotten to the point where we're spot zoning, which is illegal. It's illegal to spot zone. There's no direction whether than is it dimensionally appropriate to rezone something. So now here we are, you can rezone, you can upzone anything. If I've only got 30,000 acres, well, I'll just take it down to R40. What does it even matter? You have zoning, you have maps to prevent urban sprawl in our agricultural areas. You've got tobacco barns, you've got all this other stuff. You're going to bring houses in there. I mean, these farmers aren't taken care of in terms of the zoning. And so I think it fails in the AG2 zoning, in our current zoning, it states that it should be not just low density, but very low density. So I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do we just approve everything? Do we spot zone? Like, I don't even know what to do at this point. And I'm open for any suggestions, but according to the rules, whether it's a 2040 growth plan, which would need to be revisited anyway, because it's calling for 15-acre tracts. But to me, the General Assembly has said that we must adopt a growth plan. That's got to be revisited every 3 years. It says that your decisions here at the commission and at the planning and zoning have to meet that growth plan. Everything has to be decided to that growth plan. Other than that, we're just spot zoning, which is illegal, and it fails under both plans, whether it's the 2040 or the current.
Pam, would you like to address that?
We have hired a consultant to have on staff because that's what you wanted. What we are reading and presenting is what our book that you guys, all the commission voted on by our guidelines. That's what we're going by. So when you say all of that, the growth plan and all of that, we're going by what our book has.
Did we adopt the 24? I'm asking, I want to be
Can I make a statement?
Yes, sir.
It adopted.
We tried to adopt a Ross County growth plan, but 4 cities would not adopt it. And the state tells me that if all 10 cities don't accept it, then the state don't accept our growth plan then.
Okay.
Now, we're fixing to do a Robertson County growth plan. We're in the process right now.
Okay.
But just for the county and leave the cities out.
Right.
But spot zoning, sir, is putting an industrial lot in the middle of a farm. That's what you call spot zoning.
Do we just approve everything then? I mean,
Well, it's up to you, but to say a man can't build a R80 covers a lot of stuff. Now, I'm not taking up for these people on this side. I think I don't know where you're coming from, Commissioner. Maybe me and you need to have a meeting.
That's a big.
I just don't, yeah. That's fine. I'd like to have that.
Well, I'm not supposed to say anything, but when I think stuff's being said, it's not. Let's just leave it at that. Ed Heber, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I would like to, please.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
But
Jeremiah, I know where you're coming from. I mean, I've worked in this field for a while before retiring. If the other cities, and we did have a growth plan at one point, correct?
yes,
And if the other cities and like the state, we have to go by what the state says. If they don't approve that, then we can't have an updated one until we get ours done. The RP80 is a step down basically from the ag. I mean, I live on a farm. I mean, and I don't know what's going to happen on each side of me. I have no idea. And I understand these people, but I also understand what the regs say as of right now and what our book says. And I feel like that if we don't go by what the book says, we're opening ourselves up for a lawsuit. And I think we have to be fiscally responsible to our taxpayers as well. Not only all these other people that are against it or for it or whatever, we have to be fiscally responsible. And I mean, I'm glad that we have a consultant now, and I have encouraged them to get one. I've helped them out as, when they had a question or whatever, but that's been, few and far between because they had Amanda, and now they've got the consultant on board and everything. But saying that we don't have the growth plan when the state says we're not going to accept it because of the other cities is kind of not true. I mean, it's not, we've had one and we've been following it up until that point.
Is that the zoning? I mean, is the zoning atlas that we're looking at? Is that the growth plan?
There's a growth plan in any way, and there may not even be a reason there may be a reason, but the state is also looking at growth plans right now in the legislature about, there's resolutions going through there right now about growth plans. I've talked to Mr. Head. We had a pretty good conversation. And, I've told him I had made my mind up whenever I was talking to him and everything like that. And we went out there and looked. I think another commissioner went out and looked, at your road and how many vehicles we saw. We sit out there, my husband and I sit out there, for about 20 minutes. And we didn't see maybe 5 or 6 cars, but we may be in a different time, you know what I mean? And there's 10 houses on that road. Is that on your road?
It's got 7.
7 houses. So, and then there's gonna be 2 more, one to be on Wilhelm.
I guess I'm probably not.
Depend on the layout, but
Depend on the layout.
most
Okay.
likely 3.
Okay, so, I'm just wondering how much more traffic, depending on a family, you have to know what family is gonna be there. How much more traffic is gonna be there. And if somebody moves next to your farm, they better know they're moving next to a farm. It's a working farm. That's the way I feel about my cows. Somebody moves next to me. I got cows that's gonna move. I got cows that's gonna have manure on the ground. I got cows that's gonna breed. If they don't like it, they don't need to move next door to you. So,
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Pete. Jeremiah, we're not picking on you. It's just that
no,
we have tried to get this growth plan, but the state don't recognize it. When I've got 3 or 4 cities, says they're not gonna sign off on it.
I get that. Gee, if you don't mind, just like, what do you look at then, like on the rezoning, like, just to say something's dimensionally appropriate, well, anything, we could take it down to R20, where do you stop?
I look at the what's around it, the zonings that are around it. I don't look like, I told Mr. Head, when I would be more against some rezoning, say going from ag to R40 or to even lower than I would be to RPA.
There's ag all around.
I understand that.
Yeah, see, R20 would not work at all.
Right, yeah,
Because you've got to have sewer, you gotta have water lines that do fire hydrants. They was asking R20, they wouldn't even be here because the zoning board wouldn't even pass it. Right.
So R40 is kind of the
R80, like she says, the first step down from ag 2.
R40 is kind of like the table then, they don't go below.
No, I think
RP80.
I would totally, and I'm not saying this to be against anybody, but I would, if somebody wanted to cut their family farm up into it for a family, I wouldn't want to go any lower than RP80. I wouldn't go for an acre lot on a family farm, even though it's family.
Yeah, it made sense on some rezonings this past, that's different, but anyway, okay.
And this one was already a non-conforming. It already didn't fit into the AG2 category.
Yeah, that's what we're running into as well, because things don't match and,
And those zonings are all over the county like that.
Mr. Stroud.
Well, I just kind of like to say, one, I thought right after I became a commissioner in 2014, 15, right through there, whatever, that we did adopt the growth plan. And anyway, and so, even in spite of that, we've been very inconsistent in the past. Lot sizes approved out in the rural areas. Well, then we kind of got on board where if it was going to be, something kind of divided up out in the rural areas, that planning commission had gotten very consistent in the last couple of years anyway, about saying, hey, we're not going to do anything less than RP 80, so, which 8,000 square foot lot, 1.8 some odd acres, and I think if that's kind of what we're doing to be consistent, that's what we need to do. We need to be consistent. So.
Yeah, I think as a former county commissioner, I looked at what was around it. You wouldn't want R20, out in here's what this study we're doing now as far as the county about a county growth plan. We're not talking about the cities. But the infrastructure that's coming out of White House and Springfield and Greenbrier and Ridgetop will probably say what our growth plan will be. Because each city's going to have to submit a plan of where they're running their sewer and electricity and gas and water. And as long as you have to have a 6-inch water line to put a fire hydrant, you can't put more than 2 houses on a 5-acre tract.
Well, and so here's another thing, just a point that I have a personal opinion. We have, because of the inconsistency we've had in years past, you've got some R40 scattered out in the country and this and that and the other. If we're kind of trying to straighten ourselves out and do things right, we've got to quit looking and saying, well, there's R40 all around this. Just because we did something like that 10, 15, 20 years ago doesn't mean that we need to continue to do it that way if we're trying to be consistent going forward and kind of manage our growth. Growth is here, growth is coming, but we just very much need to be consistent about how we're doing it and fair to everybody. So I don't think we can really look at, well, there's some R40 there if that's not where we're going for the future,
And if the infrastructure is not there, then it's not gonna go anywhere.
Right.
And we're not in the utility business, the city.
Not in the utility business. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people could carry us to court if there's R40 next to them and we voted them down. I don't know how we can stand up on that.
Because we have a growth plan. Trying to keep less dense out in the rural areas.
Anybody else? Mr. Roberts.
My thing is about this is that, if this is coming out of our zoning and planning committee and it's passing it, I get that. But if we're saying to these people, you've got AG2 and we're not going to let you go to RP 80 and we're voting it down, if that's what we're wanting to do, this shouldn't come out of our zoning and planning committee to us, because what's happening, these people that are wanting to develop this, they've been spending anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 getting to this point. So if we're going to sit here and discuss this and want to stop this, we shouldn't even let this come out of our zoning and planning committee.
Well, it has to come out for the county engineer to start his work.
Well, I get that, but our argument here is basically there's a lot of us that don't want this, that are saying, I'm not going to vote on this till we get a planner or whatever. We're going to make it hard on you. We voted down 3 last month and cost them people a lot of money. And we're going to have the same thing going on with these people right here.
Well, that's up to the county commission. And that's Commissioner Moore.
Well, I want to make a comment because I know this family is a lifelong members. I knew their mother very well. I know the concern about Coopertown Middle School, Coopertown Elementary School, but I'm going to say this. Springfield Middle School has been moved out to Coopertown. They wouldn't have been moved out to Coopertown if there had been houses out in Coopertown. So this is going to help the cause to get to Springfield Middle School if you have houses out there with kids in there. There's no growth, so I just want to address that part. But I agree with Commissioner Roberts. We have not voted on 3 different sets of properties last month. Those families had every right to build on their own property. It came out of planning and zoning 7-0. Those committees are in place for a reason. We rely on our committees to do their homework, go by the guidelines, go by the rules and regulations, and then they bring it to us. But we sit here and dispute it and turn them down.
Commissioner Haley?
Ms. Mathis, how many RP 40s are around this property?
This one has none. within the close vicinity, there are 4 lots that touch it that are non-conforming.
Okay.
2 of those would be considered RP 80, 2 would be considered R40 in today's regulations.
Thank you, man. Anybody else? Let me just say, I think it's time we all sit down, and probably have a workshop. Okay?
Our consultant planner is all for that.
We'll do that and try to get as many commissioners as we can. We're not trying to. Go ahead, Mr. Romo.
I just have a question. You mentioned the non-conforming nearby. What's the resolution to that? If we've got non-conforming zoning issues out there, is there a way to correct that?
It's been brought up that we could possibly do a massive overhaul of the property and do, public hearings to let people come talk and then just do a rezone of everybody's property to fit what they should fit. That's just been talk. Like, we kind of wanted to get our consultant planner in place, talk to them about it and see their opinion on it and how they think we could go about getting some of these non-conforming lots into the correct zone.
Does your consultant planner know what they're stepping into here?
They do. One of them is actually here. We actually discussed it a little today.
Hey, I'd probably, part of your contract been signed?
Yes.
Yeah, we got that.
Okay, I'll let
Signed
I don't know him from man to moon.
My name is David Cobb. I work with Collier Engineering. We just signed last week, so I haven't gotten a chance to fully dive in. As far as non-conforming lots, there's not much you can do if it's an existing lot of record until they come to subdivide or change that lot. And the only option would be to zone them to a correct zone. Otherwise, you would just leave it at that zone and they would have to make it work on that site, or they would have to request additional rezoning down the line. But there's not a real easy resolution to that if it's substantially smaller, because the property owner has a right as a existing lot of record to keep it at whatever size they would like.
Okay, now introduce yourself and what company you're with.
Collier Engineering. We're out of Nashville. I used to be the planner over at Springfield, so I'm quite familiar with Robertson County and the Springfield area and a lot of the difficulties in up and coming, county on the historically rural county on the edge of growing development. I did have, in regards to spot zoning, we're going to do a full review of their comprehensive plan, see where it's at. We were trying to find the map so we could update and get a better GIS map set up so everyone can take a look at exactly what was in the comprehensive plan, what we have existing. So when we come to these meetings, you'll be able to see exactly where stuff is, what's around it. And spot zoning isn't illegal if it's within the comprehensive growth plan. So if it's zoned, if you guys say this is an area for industrial in the future and it's farm now and they come with industrial, that's not spot zoning. Spot zoning is if it's meant for a high density residential and you turn it into an industrial or request that. And then based on your zoning classifications, if you read the Ag 2 and the RP 80 at the very last sentence, the application of this district is appropriate in rural areas of the adopted 2040 comprehensive growth plan and development plan, which both of these would fall under that rural area. So it's not a stretch to jump down to an RP 80. And if you notice down in R40, the application of this district would be appropriate in a suburban and general urban area of the growth plan. So that is something we're working on. Hopefully by next month, we'll have a updated map and a accessible map, and we'll have that out to everybody and we'll get it to Hunter to pass along. And if you guys have any questions on that, we'd be more than happy to answer.
Questions? Let me tell you what, getting a planner is hard to do. Andy came from GNRC. Right now, they're 4 behind. I mean, everybody's looking for a planner, especially with the growth in Middle Tennessee. Yeah. I don't imagine you guys are cheap, are you?
I mean, well, like you said, it's.
Mr. Morgan, would you like to speak?
It just, according to his comment, if we can delay this decision for what he's talking about, have more planned in a month from now, why can't we delay this so that the people don't lose their money and the likelihood of this being voted down? Move to table it.
And I just want to note, I did do a cursory review and both of these lots are squarely in, based on the plan, would be in that AG2 area. So it is a rural area, but according to, the zoning district on the book, those both would classify as use. And again, you guys are, the main argument is a change in an additional 4 lots on the second rezoning and the 2 lots on the third rezoning. So we're looking at, they could go out tomorrow and build 7 homes versus 11 on the second lot, or 2 homes versus 4 on the third lot. So you're looking at a difference of 6 lots, 5 lots.
Anybody got a question now?
Well, and just, even if you approve the rezone, that doesn't necessarily mean there's gonna be, it just says there could be a maximum of, they've got to go through the environmental and all that. So the whole thing.
After they submit a plan, the county engineer had to go over and look at water runoff and all that.
This would be strictly the maximum they could get. Now, when they go to TDEC to soil perk and look at, flooding possibilities and the topography, the site, it could be substantially less. This is the theoretical max you could get on the site, assuming you have the frontage, you have everything accurate.
What about the first one? Going to R40, RG2.
I haven't gotten to look exactly where that is. Assuming you guys, did you get a chance to look?
Yeah, there's no R40 surrounding it. Like I said, there's 4 properties touching it that are non-conforming. In today's zones, 2 would be R40, 2 would be RP80. But there, as of right now, everything touching it's AG2.
Right.
Hey, all this has been good discussion, and when we can, we'll meet with this gentleman with the county commissioners that do have questions. And when we start our county, well, the lady has already started. I had my last mayor's meeting a month and a half ago. She was at Greenbrier and spoke. She's working with all cities on the infrastructure and going out in the county. And what the cities say will mean a lot about what our county growth plan will probably be. But still, the cities that. Yeah. Everybody ready? Question been called. Okay. Zoning request from Ag 2 to R40, 008. I had a motion and I already had a second. Question been called. If you're for this zoning resolution, vote yes. If you're against it, vote no. What was that? At 18 for, 3 against, that resolution passes. All right, Ag 2 to RP 80, 009 in 11th voting district. Zeltra, is that right? Zeltra, Ms. Zeltra, is that close enough? Hey, yeah, 11th voting district. I need a motion. Okay, I got a motion by Stubblefield, a second by Moore. Any questions? Question been called. If you're for this resolution, vote yes. If you're against it, vote no. Got 19 for and 2 against, that resolution passes. Resolution 010. Jacob and Morgan Fan, 11th voting district, going from Ag 2 to RP 80. I need a motion.
Motion.
Got a motion, Billy Ray Dawes. Just looking at the button, John. And a second by Moore. Any questions on this resolution? Question been called. If you're for this resolution, vote yes. If you're against it, vote no. Mm-hmm. 24 and 1 against, that resolution passes. Thank you, commissioners. I know that's a hard decision. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move to our resolutions. Commissioner Cass from the Budget Committee Chairman will not be here. He had to put his wife in the hospital today. Thoughts is with her. But hopefully the way he talks, she might get to come on a couple of days. And Commissioner Stubblefield's gonna represent the Budget Committee and represent these resolutions.
Commissioners and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. No, the jury. I've always wanted to be. I've always wanted I've always wanted to get up and fight about something, so.
Good, Stubblefield, go ahead.
I bring to you resolution number 022-624-011.
I got a motion and a second by Commissioner Woodall. Woodard, excuse me. Hey,
This is
it's getting hot up here. Woodard.
Balanced budget amendment for the highway department. They're wanting to purchase 2 dump trucks.
Okay. Question being called. For this resolution, vote yes. Against it, vote no. This has been in front of the Finance Committee. I got 21 for, none against. That resolution passes. Mr. Stubblefield.
Resolution number 022-624-012. Make a motion.
I got a motion and a second by Commissioner Morgan.
This is a balanced budget amendment to allot money not to exceed $12,000 for locks on the courthouse. Some that were broken and some need to be fixed.
Yeah, this is just to explain it. The courthouse I'm in, we had 3 doors that lightning ruined one of them, but the other 2 are just so old they don't work anymore. This is the ones that the sheriff uses when they bring people in for security and people that has to be at court. Any other questions? Question been called. If you for this resolution, vote yes. If you're against it, vote no. I got 21 for, 0 against. That resolution passes. Commissioner Stubblefield.
Resolution number 022-624-013. Can you have a second?
Got a second, Commissioner Doris.
This is a resolution to change the Robertson County's purchasing policies and procedures. We passed a policy back in 2017, I think, to allow the department heads to purchase up to $5,000 and to make those purchases, but go to the finance director. And what we're doing here is we're taking out the step where they have to go through the finance director, that the department heads will be allowed to have to purchase anything up to $5,000 without going through finance.
Question being called. Thank you. Before this resolution, yes, if you vote no. At 21 for and 0 against, that resolution passes. Thank you, Commissioner Stubblefield. Judge Stubblefield. Thank you. Is any old business coming from the commission? Okay, Bubba.
Mayor, I would like to inquire about last month before we voted down the R40s and we get.
Okay,
Get brought back up on next month agenda.
our county attorney done some research with zoning. If a commissioner that voted against it can bring it back,
I was one of them.
and next month they'll just bring it back in during zoning. I'm not gonna bring it back in new business because there'll be a lot of people sitting here that wants to speak on it. And I don't want them to sit here and stew through the whole meeting and wait till new business. I want them to do it during zoning.
I went out and done my due diligence. I voted no when I went out and done my looking and stuff on some of it. I'm willing to change my vote on it right now as well.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't want to say either way really, Bubba. I mean, it's up to y'all.
Yes.
I don't have a vote.
I would like to bring it up next month because bring it back to.
Okay, I think we've already got 3 commissioners lined up that's going to do that.
Okay.
That in new business? That's old business. Okay, any new business? Mr. Roberts.
I got one thing. This week is Reads Across America Week and Dr. Weeks is here. I just wanted him to touch on it just a second and tell what it is.
Dr. Weeks, you out there? I don't see you.
Yeah, he's out there. He's hiding.
I move we make Dr. Weeks member of the court.
Okay, Dr. Weeks, hey, all in favor say aye. Dr. Weeks, come on up. How do you like your job?
Love it.
Really?
Absolutely love it. Yes, sir.
Here you go, sir.
Commissioners, Mayor, and other officials that are in the room tonight, as Mr. Roberts said, this is the beginning of Read Across America Week. And Read Across America is an initiative started by the National Education Association, which invites citizens and leaders in our community, such as you, an opportunity to come read a book to some of our students. I know some of our librarians have maybe reached out to you, and their classroom teachers have reached out to you to invite you to come read. We would appreciate your time to do that sometime late this week or early next week. If you've not had the opportunity or no one has contacted you yet and you'd like to do that, I'd be glad for you to come in or email me, call me at work, and we'll get an opportunity scheduled for you to come do that. It's an exciting time for you to be in our schools, just to see some children, meet the children, see what they're doing. And sometimes they'll give you a book that might test your reading skills a little bit. Sometimes they read Dr. Seuss books, which are a little tongue twisty every now and then. But we would again invite you to come in and read to a group of small students. And we do that all the way through about 7th or 8th grade. So again, we would invite you to do that. Please be expecting an email the next day or so if you've not already received one. Or if you'd like to read at a specific school, if you'll just let me know, we'll get you signed up to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Stroud, you want to speak or you want to say you want to read a book?
No, I don't, I must have.
Can I make a comment?
Dr. Seuss. Hey, yes.
Comment?
Yes.
Just in his follow-up. My wife has been doing this for several years. And she's been following these students. You'd be surprised how much growth they're getting from that individual attention of somebody reading with them and along with them as well. It's a great program. So if you get a chance, do the job. You'll enjoy it more so than the kids.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. Anybody else? And you're all welcome to go to school in your neighborhood if you want to. Kids. Pretty neat. I do it every year. I don't know why, because the kids look at me like I'm crazy, but anyway.
Now, you just can't walk into the schools, Mr. Mayor. You gotta get.
Yeah, you can't wear your ball cap in there. All right. Mr. Hogan?
Yes, sir.
You got a job you need to do?
I do. Mr. Mayor, I have reviewed the applications of those wishing to become a notary. I recommend that we elect all those that have applied to be a notary for the county of Robertson and this great state of Tennessee.
Okay, I got a second. Billy Ray Doris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose these notaries? So moved. Doris, would you like to make the last?
I can make it. I can adjourn, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Got a second. We are adjourned.